So a very good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to another video. Now today is the morning after the night before. You see, yesterday the UK got battered by Storm Boba Fett. So today is very much going to be seeing if things are still standing. You see, there is a rock formation called King Rock and Queen Rock that I'm keen to take a photograph of, and it's about a 15-minute walk along the track behind me. I'm kind of hoping it's still there. There is some chop in the sea, the tide's coming in. Hopefully we'll be able to get a really nice long exposure photograph with a new toy. Let's go exploring. So the good news is the sea stack is still standing and the tide is at a good position to get some long exposures as the water swells around it. You may just be able to see it's just pointing above the grassline down there, but wow, the waves are really crashing around today. It's not somewhere I'd really like to be is down there, but I'm quite happy to be still up here. Considering the wind we had yesterday, there was a slight breeze, but nothing that's going to concern me too much. It's a damp day. There's drizzle or spray, or I think there's even a bit of a low fog rolling in off the North Sea. I can't really see the lighthouse off in the distance. I can't see the horizon, and even the path where I've just been walking along is a little bit obscured, so I think we're going to go for some dramatic, moody type shots today. I'm probably going to take two photos. I want to take a punched in photo and a slightly wider photo, but first let's get the new toy out. We'll talk about it and we'll take a photograph of the sea stack with the toy. So here it is, the Canon 5D Classic with a 50mm f1.8 lens on the front of it. 2005, let's touch on specs. So megapixels, they're into me. Dynamic range, you probably want a bracket. Burst mode, yeah, stop motion, maybe. But stick this thing on a tripod and do landscapes with it, and I think full frame for £139, you probably can't go wrong. So let's take some long exposure landscapey, seascape things and just see how it happens. I've had a lot of cameras from this era of Canon, and I've always been really impressed with how they look. I've had its bigger brother, the 1D Mark III. It was released around the same time, possibly a year later than this off the top of my head, but this was the first full frame camera in a normal consumer sized body. You know, the double things that Canon 1D series. Well, this was the first one in a smaller body. It was affordable and it's still fantastic to this day. So let's have a look and see what it can do. I'll tell you what, it's weird using a DSLR again after spending most of the year using mirrorless micro four thirds cameras. The problem I'm having is, well, I've got one lens. It's 50mm. It's wide enough, but it's not wide enough for this type of thing. So we are going to have to go fairly punched in, which is why I said at the start of the video I wanted to take two photos. So I do have the 6mm lens for this camera, which is probably going to get thrown on very shortly just for a shot for me. But wow, this thing is punched in. So autofocus points, there are 9 of them. Use the middle one, don't trust any of the others, basically. Let's have a look. So I've got something composed there. I'm not using filters at the minute. The light is really dull and dark at the minute, so there's not really much point. So we're at f11 ISO 200, a sixth of a second, which is just going to leave some nice swirl and patterns in the water down below. Now, this thing doesn't have a 2-second timer, it has a 10-second timer. It's also not weather sealed, which is making me a little bit nervous with the drizzle at the minute, so I want to get this shot taken and get it put away back in the bag. And there we go. I don't know why I'm looking through the viewfinder anymore. Okay, so here's a photograph of a sea stack, the Canon 5D Classic. So as you can see, I've thrown the 6mm Lower lens on my Olympus EM1 Mark II. I really just wanted to grab a wider photo, and obviously I don't have a wider lens for the 5D Classic, so I thought while we've got them, we may as well use them. So I ended up with a shutter speed of around 1.5 seconds, which just allows me to retain some of the texture in all of the water down below. You see, if you go for really long exposures for something like this, you're just going to completely smooth everything out and you're going to lose the turbulence and the texture in the water. So I find the shutter speed between 1 second and 2 seconds tends to retain a lot of that. In the background there is a smaller rock. I think that's the Queen Rock. I think the big one standing is the King Rock. There's a smaller one in the background called the Queen Rock. I've managed to grab that in the photo, which was important to me because I wanted to get both of them in there. Here's a photograph of Olympus EM1 Mark II. So let's address the elephant in the room. There will be those of you who've watched my channel this year and wondering why I felt the need to grab a full frame Canon camera when I've spent pretty much all of 2023 singing the praises of the Micro Four Thirds camera system. Well, I have a collection of lenses at home. They're vintage lenses designed for 35mm film cameras, and specifically the Helios 44, which has this beautiful swell to the out of focus elements in the bokeh. It just loses that effect on the Micro Four Thirds system. You see, that lens is a 58mm, so you're talking, what, 118, 116 millimeters, and it just loses that effect. So I just wanted a full frame camera so I can play with the vintage lenses. Now, I'm not going to be diving, sorry, just let me take this photograph. I'm not going to be diving into two camera systems here. The reason I got this, it's a cheaper alternative to film for the 35mm film lenses. Here's a photograph. So I guess it would be kind of silly to come to Thornwick Bay and not get some photos of the buildings and the tractors and the boats and everything. I really want to get something with the waves crashing through the bay as well. But I just don't know what. I've seen one potential composition, but it's a bit tight on the 50mm on the full frame, which is a bit irritating. But we can always come back another day and grab that. But I'm kind of thinking all of the colours popping off of the buildings and the boats and the machinery and everything, they'll just add a little bit of something to an otherwise really grey and flat, wet, late October day. You know, welcome to this time of year in the UK. But yeah, there's compositions to be had here, there's photographs to be had here, and I'm just gonna handheld walk around and just see what we can snap. So we've reached that time of day where the drizzle, it's kind of turned to rain now, so in the interest of safety of the unweather sealed camera, I think it's time to go home. So to summarise today, I've enjoyed myself getting out with a Canon DSLR once again. Granted, we've not had any light, there's been no sunrise, but I'm hoping what I've seen on the back of the camera translates to the computer, and there's one or two nice long exposure images on there, as well as the machinery and the boats from around here. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up. It really does help the video, and it brings new viewers to see my content. If you liked it more than that and you're new here, please do hit the subscribe button, which is somewhere down there, and you'll see more nonsense from me and my cameras every single week. So until the next time, I'm love you and leave you and say peace and goodbye.